Okay, it says I'm live. Maybe somebody can comment and just let me know that um, you're able to see me. Um, okay, I'm going to assume that we're good. We're good, and we're working here. I'm standing. Stand back a bit so you can see my head. I'm standing in my mom's backyard in Oakville, which is the next town over from where I've been doing my land drills. In that small backyard that you've seen me in, that's my house. Um, this is the town I grew up in, and it's a short bike ride from here to the lake and to the canoe club. I actually leave a board in my mom's garage, so I come here in the morning, drop my dogs, grab my board, and go paddling when we're able to. You can see my dogs have chewed up the backyard, so it looks like I'm gonna have some work to do in the next couple of weeks to make that look better. But anyway, what I wanted to do today is show you a leg circuit. I thought we'd get away from the land drills for a bit. I've got more that we can look at. I want to show you some land drills that pertain to how to track your board straight. And we'll get into them in the next week or so. But I figure that with people off the water, with gyms closed, you're probably looking for things that you can do at home. And I wanted to share with you a leg circuit that I've done and that I find really useful. One of the best time for me to do it, and the time where I've had people I've been coaching do it, is immediately after paddling. So you get off the water having done your work, and you go through this little leg circuit that only takes 10 minutes, and but it really works the legs. And that's a really good time to do it, because your legs are already tired from your paddling workout, and then if you can hit them on land and really fry them in a leg circuit, you're really building a lot of leg endurance. And when you think about it, we talk about how important legs are for your paddling, and you've probably heard people say that once your legs go, you're done, it's over. And that's especially true in long races or in rough water. So you can't overestimate the importance of legs when you're paddling, and especially with some of the things we've been talking about in the more recent land drills about how to use your legs. You can't just rely on your paddle training to prepare your legs. You've got to do some land work as well. So I'm going to show you this leg circuit. It won't take long. I'm not going to go through the whole thing and do 3 or 4 rounds of it like I might normally do. I'm going to show you the exercises. I'm going to make sure you know how to do the exercises properly. I'll show you the sort of starting version, and then I'll show you a way to make it more advanced, and we'll go from there, okay? Because I do believe that you shouldn't just jump into this and do all the exercises at the sort of the upper end or the upper level and do like a high number of reps. I think you should build up to it. I'll tell you something that I did this, I've done this 2 times now in the last few days, just because of a lack of other things to do, really. And my left knee's kind of sore. So if you go at it too hard too soon, without any prep work, without any time to get used to the exercises, then you do risk injury. So I'd advise everyone to take it easy, get the motions down properly, maybe try to do the exercises without the plyometric version, and I'll explain about plyometrics in a bit, and be safe, and then build into the more hardcore thing. And you can build into it pretty quickly, but it makes sense to start at a reasonable level. Okay, so there's 7 exercises. That's it. And you can do anywhere from 5 reps, 10 reps to, I usually do 20 to 30 reps at each exercise. And if it's an exercise where I'm doing one leg and then the other leg, one leg and then the other leg, I'll do 30 reps a leg. So today what I thought I'd do is I'd do 10 reps. It'll be enough for you to get an idea of what the exercise is. It won't kill me, and then you can start with 10, and then you can build into 15, 20, 25, 30, unless you do this kind of stuff all the time and you're confident that you're not going to hurt yourself, and by all means knock yourself out and go for higher reps. Okay, so the first exercise is called low walking. And it's kind of like step lunges, only you don't come up at the end of the motion. So basically, I'll do it sideways so you can see. Get back so you can see my feet. So basically what you're doing is you're taking a big step and you're going down like that, and you kind of want to take a big step. A lot of times what people do when they're doing these exercises is they take a little tiny step, and then when they go down they get a really small angle here at their knee. It kind of looks like what I've been telling you to do on your board, right? Because your knees are in front of your toes. But when you do that and you're putting body weight on your forward on your knee, it's really hard on your joint. And so I really recommend taking a nice big step so that you get about a 90-degree angle there, and you'll find there's a lot less pressure on your patellar tendon and less chance of injury. So low walking is simply, you're going to take a big step, and unlike step lunges where you would then come up and take another step, when you're doing low walking you're going to stay down. So it's going to look like this. I'm going to try to navigate my way through the potholes that my dogs have dug. So it's going to be a big step, stay low, take another big step, stay low, another big step, and then I'm out of the screen, right? So I'm going to do 10. I'm going to go away from the camera, turn around, and come back. And you're going to see that there's a little bit of balance involved too. If you're staying low, you tend to wobble a little bit. That will get better with time. But I'll talk about at the end of this, I'll sit down and I'll talk about how a lot of these exercises are going to be really useful for balance. It's not just a question of leg strength, leg endurance, power endurance. It's also really good for balance. So I'm just going to go away from the camera. I'll do like 5 and then I'll come back towards the camera. Okay, so here we go. I'm down low, I'm staying low, staying low, staying low. Okay, so you can see I was staying really low, and that's actually really good because we've been talking in some of our land drills about getting the value of getting lower on your board, having a more aggressive stance, a more knee bent stance, how getting you're going from straight legs when you're paddling to more bent legs gets your hips lower to the water. If your hips are lower to the water, your paddling side shoulders lower to the water. If your paddling side shoulders lower to the water, your hands lower to the water. If your hands lower to the water, the tip of your paddle is lower to the water, and it gets in the water and buried more quickly. And then the other thing we've been talking about is adding to that bend of the knees by a little bit more ankle flexion to help you fall forward onto the paddle, right? So low walking is going to help you be able to maintain that position more easily, okay? The second exercise is squat jumps. You've probably all done squat jumps before. So I just put my hands on my hips, I squat down, and then I just go up with a jump. I would suggest that if you haven't done a lot of leg work before, that you just do squats and you don't do the jumps to start with. So they would look like this, just down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 10, or you could do the squat jumps, which would be what you do once you've got your legs and your knees used to doing this kind of thing, then you can do them with a jump. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'll face the camera, 6, so my feet are both shoulder width apart, 7, 8, 9, 10, okay, so those are squat jumps. And the next one is another jumping exercise. There's no real way to do this one without jumping. I don't think. I can maybe see if I can create one. They're called frog jumps. And in frog jumps, you want to get down in a squat position, your hands by your feet. You're going to swing your hands back and then swing them forward and jump, and then try to stick the landing. So arms back, forward, and jump, stick the landing. Arms back, forward, and jump. Try to stick the landing. I'll show you that sideways. So you're getting down like you've just done your squat. Your hands are by your feet. Swing your arms back. Look like a ski jumper going down the hill. Arms back, forward, jump, and stick the landing. Back, forward, jump, and stick the landing. I suppose if you didn't want to jump, let's see what you could do. You could go, you could be down like this. Now you kind of have to jump. So if this bothers your knees, try it. If it bothers your knees, take it out. Don't do it until you've done the other exercises without jumping and your knees are strengthened a bit. And then as you start to jump in exercises like the squat jumps, then you can start to add in the frog jumps. You're going to find that frog jumps, I got to do my 10 of them, right? So you're going to see how much this impacts your cardio. So do 5 down, 5 back. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I'm getting carried away here, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and it really wins you. It's a real cardio exercise as well. So if you're doing 30 reps of that, and you're starting 30 reps immediately after doing 30 squat jumps, and then you go on to the next exercise, this little circuit gets very cardio. So those are frog jumps. And then you take a bit of a rest with an easier exercise, and that's step lunges. So we looked at them when we were looking at low walking, but a step lunge is just a big step again, so you get a 90-degree angle here, not less than 90 degrees. Knee gets close to the ground, and then you come up and take another step, and then you come up and take another step, and then you come up. I'm out of the frame. Take another step. I'll do it back this way. So big step up, big step down, 90 degrees up, big step down, knee close to the ground, 90 degrees up. All right, so step lunges. I'll do my 5 that way, 5 back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 5 on one side. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so there I did 10 on each leg. And then after that, I'm going to bring this chair over here, and we're going to do Bulgarian split lunges. So you put your one foot on a chair or a bench or something like that behind you, and then your other foot in front of you. It's a balance exercise, right? Okay, and then you go down like you would in a lunge and come back up, down, up, down, up. If you want to do it more advanced, you do a jump on the up and then stick the landing and control your downward, like your descent back to the lowest point. You do 10 each leg. I'll show you what that looks like from the side, and I'll do my 10 on each leg here sideways. Okay, so foot up on the chair or the bench. I step far enough in front that I'm going to be 90 degrees at my leg when I go down. And then I'm down, up, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I'll move the chair the other way, and I'll do 10 going the other way. One, two, ooh, losing my balance. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm right on the edge of a dog hole. Okay, so that's 5 exercises already. You can see how when you start doing this and you're not talking, you're just banging off reps, that you can go through it pretty quickly. The next one is split squat jumps. So we already did squat jumps, right? Well, now we're going to do split squat jumps. So when we do split squat jumps, it's kind of like a cross between squat jumps and step lunges. So we're going to go like this, down, up, and we're going to change sides each time we go down. If you're having a hard time with the jumping and landing part, then you can just do split squats like that without the jump, and do 10 on one side, then 10 on the other side. But if you're comfortable with the jumping and the landing, then you can do, I'm not going to stand in that hole again, then you can do split squat jumps. Okay, so I'll do my set of 10 on each leg right here. Okay, so it's going to be 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9, 10, 10. Okay, split squat jumps. And then the last exercise is a skating motion. So instead of doing things in this plane, I'm going to be jumping more laterally. And it's going to look like this. Put all my weight on my right leg. I'm going to jump, and I'm going to land on my left leg. I'm going to jump, land back on my right leg. Jump, land on my left leg. Notice I'm sticking the landing and trying to stay and holding it for a second. Okay, I'll do it sideways so you can see what that looks like. Avoid the hole. Okay, so right leg, go from the weight on my right leg to my left, back to my right, back to my left, back to my right, back to my left, back to my right. And you can see I'm staying in a pretty bent-legged stance the whole time, right? Again, similar to what we're doing on our board, where even at the end of the stroke, when we're coming up and unloading, we're not locking our legs out and standing straight. We're staying in a bent-legged stance and going to the next stroke. We never really stand up straight with our legs locked. Okay? So that's skating. I'll do 10 each leg. So here we go. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6. I've stepped in a hole. 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9, 10, 10. All right? So there's our leg circuit. 7 exercises. I did 10 reps an exercise. And what you would do is you complete one circuit from going station to station to station, or exercise, 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 and then you go back to the first one again. So I would go back to low walking, do my second set of low walking, then on to squat jumps, frog jumps, etc. And I call each time through a round, because you went around. Usually a circuit's set up like various stations. This is you're just going through the exercise. You can do it all in one place, but do one round, second round, a third round, and then I usually do 3 rounds, and then that's it, it's done. And 3 rounds at 30 reps takes, when you finish paddling, it takes about 15 minutes. So what I do is I would come in off the water in the summer, put my board down, put a pair of shoes on, or sometimes not even shoes, because if the grass is good, you can do this in bare feet, and bang this off, and then put my board away and change, and I'm done. So let's just talk. I'm just going to get the chair and sit down here. So one of the things that I said I would mention is the value of using these exercises for balance. And you could see that I was kind of shaky in some of the exercises. It didn't help that the ground's uneven here, but even when the ground's even, I do this a lot, I still have moments sometimes where I wobble a bit. Like when I'm taking a step and planting, my next step forward on a step lunge, or a low walking in particular, where I'm trying to stay low. You could see that I had a little bit of a balance issue in the Bulgarian split lunges. And even one of the skating times I lost my balance when I landed. And so you're working on your balance too. And the way you're working on your balance and working on your strength is really cool once you start to do the jumping. Okay, so exercises where you're doing jumping and landing, they're called plyometrics, and some of you have been to the gym where you're jumping over little bars, or you're jumping up onto boxes and back down. And there's a couple of things that are really important when you're doing these types of exercises. The most important thing is to really stick your landing. You want to have a nice, quiet, sticky landing. So I'll just demonstrate that. Like, if you're doing your exercise, if you're doing your frog jump, and you land, and you hear that big stomp, or your feet are slapping the ground hard when you land, that's not what you want to do. You don't want to be stomp. You want to be cat-like. You want to be nice, quiet landing. Nice, quiet landing. Nice, quiet landing. So quiet landing, and stick the landing so you don't wobble all over the place. And the benefit of that is that you're using there's tiny muscles in your lower legs and your feet, and even to a degree further up your legs, in your quads, your hamstrings, your glutes, when you stick your landing and you control your landing like that, and you control your deceleration, right? Because when you're landing, you're falling down with the force of gravity, and then you hit the ground and you stop. You're decelerating. When you control your deceleration like that, you're activating all kinds of muscles in your leg that you don't otherwise use. And so you're learning how to recruit. You're improving the neural recruitment of these muscle fibers that are involved in that deceleration. And you can gain strength from that. You can learn to activate those muscle fibers that maybe otherwise wouldn't be activated, and then you can apply them to other lifting activities or force generating activities, like, for example, the exit of your paddling stroke. The other thing so that's how it benefits strength. The other thing that deceleration really benefits, and that trying to stick the landing, a nice quiet sticky landing with no wobbles, is that it really helps you improve your balance, and it's kind of the same effect. In our muscles, we have specialized muscle cells that have these things called proprioceptors in them, and what they do is they detect tension that's on a muscle, or stretch that a muscle is undergoing. So like a tension, like a a sudden loading in a muscle, they detect that, or a stretching of a muscle, they detect that. And they're basically neurons, nerve cells, and they take that information about the conditions that the muscle's being exposed to, like whether it's a landing and a compression or a tension, sudden tension, or stretching. You know, like if you go to lift something and like lift a heavy weight, like you're doing like a deadlift or something, you go to lift it, all up your arm, the proprioceptors are gonna tell you that you got a heavy weight in your hand. And what they do is they detect the tension or the compression, the forces being exerted on the muscle, and they detect the strength of it. And what they do is they send that information up to your brain, and your brain dictates the appropriate response, like how many muscle fibers to recruit to do the requisite lift against the weight that your muscles are trying to lift. Or in the case of balance, which muscles to contract to maintain stability, right? So when you land, I'll do like a Bulgarian split lunge here. When you go and land, so I go down and I go up, and when I land, see I'm losing my balance here. Proprioceptors are giving me information about my landing, and they're helping correct that loss of balance. And so what happens is, if they're learning to correct the loss of balance when I'm standing on land doing leg exercises, you'd think, well, what's the connection to your paddleboard? But the reality is that what you're doing is you're fine-tuning these proprioceptors in the same muscles that you would use to detect changes in balance in your board, right? So like if my feet, in order to stick my landing on the ground, the proprioceptors in my feet, my lower legs in particular, have to get information each time about the landing, about the position of my feet, how hard I'm coming down on my landing, and you know, how to absorb my body weight when I land. And so they're very activated, they're very finely tuned. And what happens is, because you fine-tuned that system, those proprioceptors, when you get on your board, they're very attuned, they're very sensitive to changes in the orientation of your board. So if your board's wobbling, you know, they detect that wobble really quickly, quicker than in somebody who doesn't have such sensitive proprioception. And basically that allows you to make the appropriate correction to maintain your balance. And so by doing this type of thing regularly and having really finely tuned proprioception in your feet, your lower legs, it's actually going to help you when you get on your board. The balancing and all the corrections that you need to make when you're in rough water become a lot easier. You don't have to think about them as much, because basically your nervous system's doing all that thinking for you. It's just, you know, it's bypassing your conscious thought, and it's making these adjustments for you without you really having to think about it. So hugely important, these exercises in terms of balance. So that goes well with what Seisha was doing in her video yesterday, where she was showing you some really cool things that you can do to promote balance when you're on land that was going to help you on your board. But just simple leg work like this when you're doing these type of jumping and landing activities, and these are called plyometric activities. So when you're doing plyometrics, you know, if you think about controlling your landing, quiet landing, soft landing, sticky landing, like a cat, you know, like you don't hear the landing, and you maintain your balance, the better you get at that, the better your proprioception is in your feet and your lower legs in particular, and that's going to really help you when you get on your board. So it's not just a question, doing this is not just a question of it benefiting your strength. And if you're doing enough reps, especially after you've already been paddling, it's not just a question of benefiting your power endurance, but it's also going to help your balance, okay? So those are the 7 exercises that I do after paddling, that I've had other people that I've been coaching do after paddling. And you can do, you know, 10 reps, 2 rounds of 10 reps. You can do 3 rounds of 15 reps or 20 reps. You can work your way up to 30 reps. More than that gets a little hard, especially after paddling. And I don't know that you need to do that. And I wouldn't do this every day, but it's the kind of thing that you could do 2 or 3 times a week. And if you are off the water right now and you're looking for things to do, then, you know, I would do this. You know, you could do this 3 times a week, or you could add it into your strength work. You could add some of these exercises into your strength work that you're already doing. I know that, you know, we're all kind of scrambling a little bit to try to find ways to keep fit when we can't go to the gym or when we can't paddle. So, but, you know, this leg circuit is something that you can do anywhere. You can do it on your driveway. You can do it in the parking lot of your you know, your apartment complex. You can do it virtually anywhere. And provided that you're more than 2 meters apart from the nearest person, you're totally, you know, okay with the social distancing aspect. So it's something that is highly useful. It's doesn't take long, but it's a very productive way to spend 10 to 15 minutes. So I hope that that is something that will be useful for you now, and then also when we get back on the water, by doing it a couple times a week after paddling. I think you'll find it really helps your leg endurance, and it'll help your balance as well. All right, stay safe, everybody. I'll be back in my next video, and I'm going to be starting to look at some drills that are related to steering and tracking your board straight. I just want to have a conversation about that. I found that when we get into lessons and clinics and things like that, and we go straight to the water, that some people are a little bit challenged by doing everything that I'm asking them to do, and it would probably be more useful to start on land. So we'll do some board tracking work over the next few videos, probably from my backyard in Burlington. All right, so stay safe, everybody, and have a good weekend.